What?
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 Okay.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, I can't do it in the Little John voice. In this voice, it doesn't work.
Fucking you throw up.
Okay.
Oh, my God. It's everywhere.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely terrible. But, what's going on, everybody?
Welcome back to another episode of Tales from...
Helheim.
I was waiting for you to finish
Helheim. Sorry, we don't do reverb, so I had to do all of it.
We're just gonna have to pay 3 dudes to stand behind you and do reverb.
Right, that and fucking echoes.
Yep.
Hell yeah. So what are we speaking on today, sir?
We have another viewer-suggested topic this week. It comes off of our Discord from Echo.
Yep.
And it is...
Tulpas.
Tulpas. Tulpas. I believe I spelt that right.
You did.
Yeah.
Which is very, very interesting because I didn't even know before getting this suggestion, 1, what these things were, and 2, that they have whole communities built over them, and that there's people called Tulpamancers and Tulpamancy.
Yeah, that one was weird. I had heard about stuff like that, but I never knew the name for it.
Well, the weird thing is, you have a whole community of people or multiple communities on multiple platforms that are in debate. You have like one side that's, well, I guess we should go into exactly what it is first.
Yeah.
And then get to the sides.
Yeah.
So it's basically, in the most basic sense, an imaginary friend that has its own thought process and consciousness. Basically, it is something that we didn't watch How to Create One because, all the kids were out and about, and I don't want them learning how to create one just in case it goes to the bad end of the spectrum.
Yeah, because you got to be real careful with that, like from what we were watching.
Yeah.
That even though they're like mainly friendly, that sometimes they do go sideways.
And they say that when you make these, it has nothing to do with like not split personality, but it was another
dissociative identity disorder.
Yes, it's not that, but a lot of people, I guess, do it for depression or people that don't have a lot of friends. They'll create these tulpas
or lovers.
Yeah, and they'll create these things, and they can either be, a famous person, a doppelganger of yourself, the opposite sex, like your dream partner. It could be an animal, a monster, just whatever. And basically you go through believing that it's real, believing that it has its own thoughts, so you can talk to it, it can communicate back, but it lives within you and using your mental state and all your thoughts and stuff for its power to be able to speak and, give all that stuff to you. And the divide is most people say it's non-physical. And then there's the other half that say it can get physical. And we were watching some stuff on it. And one of the first people that brought it to the West made their own. That was like some weird version of a monk, like a Tibetan monk. And it ended up starting as like just a normal looking monk, then went to evil looking monk, like really almost starved looking and just evil.
Yeah.
And I guess people used to see it, not just her, and they would actually feel its touch, like it could walk by and physically touch them and touch her. So, there's evidence of it being both ways.
Wasn't she at first using it to like send messages so she wouldn't have to go and send them?
Yeah. It started off with something basically that simple, and then it just kind of progressed and apparently got worse.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's crazy. Because then there's like the two sides of where everybody believes that like either it's like a mental thing or that it's like a spiritual thing. But I don't know, man. It's weird because it's just basically thinking about something so much that you bring into existence.
Like you were saying, what you were looking something up in Slenderman. Is that one of these?
Yeah, they consider Slenderman to be a Tulpa, but I was like, I don't know, man, that one's weird. And I had a story too, but I was like, I don't know if that's a good story to tell for this. But when I was younger, that's when I first got into like creepypastas, like scary stories. When I was like middle school, I want to say.
I prefer wheat pasta.
Spoopy pasta.
Yeah.
But I remember I researched fucking Slenderman like for 3 days straight, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? I remember my mom was like, go hang this laundry outside. Like it was at night. I turned around and in the front window, because we have like that weird frosted glass.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I saw like the outline of like a tall dude standing there, and I was like, that's weird because my mom's like 5'2", and I think my sister's the only other person, but she was outside with me. I was like, that's fucking weird. And I didn't tell her anything because I was like, I didn't want her to think I was going crazy. But we went inside, there's nothing there. I was like, I probably just saw something. But I was like, I don't know, man. I think that's not necessarily a tulpa. I think that was just believing in something so much that your brain started to perceive it.
Yeah, because I think that's on a whole different spectrum. Like, if you go into a place that's haunted with a mindset of, okay, we're going to prove that it's haunted, it's got to be haunted.
Stuff,
yeah, as opposed to going in saying, all right, well, we're going to try and prove that there's nothing here, but if we catch something, then that's a different story.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. That's weird. Because then you had that case of those little girls, was like Wisconsin or some shit, where those two little were like 11 and 12. They stabbed their friend like 40 something times because they said Slenderman told them to do it.
Oh yeah,
that he was gonna hurt their families if they didn't do it. And the girl ended up surviving, thank God. But just to be that part, but they were both found to be mentally ill though, so I can't really be like, that's a tulpa. I was like, that's just unchecked mental illness.
If anyone out there actually has done this type of stuff before and created one, please let us know on the Discord. The link is always going to be at the top of the episode description. Join in, talk to us about it, because I would honestly like to find out more. I would like to know someone that has it instead of just hearing the stories of like that one dude that created one and he started like letting it take over his body.
Oh, Goomer and Dugio or something like that? Doomer, yeah.
It was like Kumar and...
No, it's Coomer and Dweegi or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like a weird My Little Pony tulpa. I was like, that's your weird buddy.
Yeah, but it was done in like almost a Japanese style.
That was creepy. Like the actual like AI rendered image of that.
Yeah.
That was insane.
It made me think of what's that movie? The Grudge.
Yeah. But basically the story for that is that he made himself like a tulpa, and he started like letting it like possess like items around his house. Like, oh, take over, go into this statue and like move around, or into this figure. And then he started letting it possess him for like small amounts of time. But then letting it possess him took so much energy out of him that he wouldn't have the energy to swap back out. And he would just let the tulpa, he would just let, what was his name? Doomer?
Coomer and Dweegi.
And Dweegi. Yeah, he let Dweegi just stay in the body and run the body until he had enough strength to switch back out. But then he started like writing like notes and like letters and stuff.
Yeah, it was like a whole blog that he had, I guess.
Yeah, it was like a whole blog where he's saying that he regretted making Dweegi and that he wishes he knew how to destroy it because he's tired. But then he would let Dweegi take back over, and he'd write another blog and be like, "Oh no, that's not true." It was like we didn't mean any of that.
Yeah, he's still thinking about letting me take over full time and basically control everything, and it's like, no, that's not how stuff works.
At that point, that's just possession.
Yeah, and that's another thing, it kind of goes into, well, is it paranormal? Is it not paranormal? Is it like you said, is it a mental thing? Is it a spiritual thing? What
I don't know,
kind of-
but what I was thinking from just hearing that story is, what if you're not creating something? What if it's just you're attracting like a lost spirit or something that's out there wandering around?
some
And they're
negative
like, oh,
energy.
this guy wants this. Like, I could be that for a bit. Just like the same thing with like fucking Coomer and Gomer and fucking Dweegi. What if that wasn't a Tulpa? What if that was a demon or like a spirit that he attracted? And he's like, oh, well, you can take over this little thing, or you here, take over my body for a bit. Like, that's you're letting it possess you. I mean, the story had a happy ending where he eventually had the strength to like eventually just block out Dweegi, and
Yeah.
he just kind of disappeared, I guess. But like, that could have gone so sideways, or how do we even know that that's what actually happened?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Are you a huge cunt?
Us too. Wait, can we even say cunt?
Of course! It's empowering these days. Cunt, 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 cunt. I'm Ange Ballastone, aka the drag queen, That Girl Gina.
And I'm Mike Fales, just a normal gay guy, I guess?
And we're the hosts of The Big Cunty Couch.
A gorgeous new talk show podcast where we invite queers and peers to sit, bitch, and be fierce on a huge-ass couch.
While we gab about all things gay.
So come get cozy.
And cunty.
With us. We're panned for platforms, so find us anywhere online and get listening, sweetie.
Or watching.
Or both.
Otherwise, why the hell am I in full drag?
And we'll see you on the big... Oh, wait. I thought we were going to say that together.
No, on The Big Cunty Couch. Mwah.
It's really hard to tell and to know, without doing it. But like I said, that's not something I personally would like to delve into.
Nope.
I like my mental state where it's at. I don't want to say it is. I'm not going to say it's legit. I'm not going to say it's not. But if it is a thing that can be done, I'm not wanting to do that and deal with the possibilities of that kind of fallout.
I feel like creating a Tulpa is kind of like on the same scale as playing the Ouija board. Because you don't really know what you're going to get. Like with the Ouija board, you're like, oh, I'm going to reach out to just a spirit. And how many times has it been that the fucking demon takes over and possesses them? Yeah. I feel like it's the same thing with the Tulpa. Like, you don't actually know what you're getting. Like, because you can be like, oh, it's just a spirit I created, I willed into existence. Be like, how do you know it wasn't just something that was looking for a host or looking for an entrance, like an entrance into our world or our dimension or whatever? And by you thinking that you created this thing, you've allowed an entrance to something else that's way worse. Like, what was that fucking when we saw the first one, where that dude created a Tulpa, but out of like, he made like a casting out of his own body, like out of tape and whatnot.
Oh no. So he got a bunch of plastic wrap and tape and all this shit. And made a full like doll that became.
It was like Chelsea or something like that.
Yeah. It was like a Tulpa / haunted doll. Yeah.
Cause that, and then is like, they started moving by itself. And then everybody's getting like bad vibes from it. So the dude's like, well, I can't destroy it yet. It's like, I need it for my art project. I need to take pictures of it. And then after that, and then we saw a couple pictures of it, and that was unsettling.
Yeah. And then they were saying like they had seen it moving. The teacher, when he first had it in class and was working on it, said that it moved itself like by his door.
Yeah, then it was in the corner of like the classroom, and then it moved to like the side of its door because he went to the office after hours, and when he came back, it was moved. Yeah. And that's when he told the student that he couldn't keep it in the art class anymore.
Shit like that is just weird.
Yeah, then the kid ended up having to take the pictures, and then he destroyed the Tulpa. Like, he cut it apart into separate bags. They put a leg in one bag, another leg in another, and then they threw them in different dumpsters so it couldn't reattach itself. I was like, that's smart.
And that's the thing, though, too. Is it the Tulpa, or did you invite some sort of entity or being in?
Well, he said that he had made it like at the moon's highest peak when like Mercury was like in retrograde, and it's supposed to be like that's when like all the energies, the doorways between our world and the others is like the thinnest, so they can get through. And he says that he probably thought that's what had happened, that something had gone into the doll when he was creating it.
Shit like that is just trippy.
Yeah, that sounds less Tulpa, more demon to me.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I think everybody had imaginary friends growing up, or most people did.
Did you?
No, I was always with my cousin.
Yeah, I didn't have an imaginary friend.
But
My
I knew
niece had
people that
one.
did. And it's like, at what point, when can you consider, like, would that imaginary friend be considered a tulpa, or is it still an imaginary friend? Like, at what point in I guess,
weird.
a child's area, what?
Your speaker just did like a little pop thing. We're talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, because my youngest niece, she had an imaginary friend named Emily, and like a bunch of random shit started happening around the house, and she's like, "Oh, it was Emily," and she was usually a very well behaved little girl, but like shit started going like missing, and then like it was being hidden and shit, and she's like, "Oh no, it was Emily." It's like Emily did it. And after that, it was like, I don't know, man. I don't fuck with imaginary friends.
And that's the thing, too, there is or has been evidence of them becoming physical. Like, what happens if, say, okay, you do go, you create one, but you're so new to it, you still don't know what you're doing, and you fuck up, and instead of making some kind thing to keep you company, you just end up making something that's pure evil and chaos.
Yeah. I don't see, like, talking about, like, imaginary friends versus tulpas and all that, it all sounds very similar to me, and then my main thing is I don't think imaginary friends are, like, imaginary friends. I think that, like, leftover spirits or, like, other stuff that's just kind of disguising itself. And, that's where I kind of like had to draw the line. I was like, I don't know, dude. Imaginary friends and tulpas, I think they're the exact same thing. Because who are the most imaginative people in the world right now? Children.
Kids.
Yeah. And for them to believe that they have a little friend hanging around and be like, oh, this is my buddy fucking Mike. You can't see him, but he does cool stuff. Like, he does this and he does this and he moved that. Like, what's to say that that's not exactly what an imaginary friend is that a child just created a tulpa and believing that there's something there.
And being their imagination is so wild, it wills it into having a physical essence.
Yeah. Because they believe in it so much. Like, kids believe in shit so hard, dude. Like, they're like, oh, no, this happened. It's like, no, that never happened. Like, oh, it did happen. I remember. And they're so stubborn about it. What's to say that their limitless imagination and their passion to actually believe what they think is what actually happened or what's actually going on isn't what's creating a tulpa? What if imaginary friends are just that? They're fucking tulpas that children created. And then when they stop believing in them, they lose their power.
Yeah, that's very possible. I agree on that one that they are the same, because if you look at what an imaginary friend is, especially, you're going to find it a lot of times in children that are, the only kids in a household. Like, how many times have we watched videos of whether it be paranormal or just scary stories, horror stories, and there's a kid and it's always just one kid, no brothers and sisters, that has an imaginary friend that starts with shit getting crazy.
So let me ask you this. So you have 5 kids. Sorry, I had to think about that.
Yes.
You said that imaginary friends stem from like mainly like single children, but that's not really the case because my niece had 3 other siblings and her mom and dad are always around. So it's not really like a lonely child. But have any of your kids ever came up with imaginary friends?
Nope, none.
No, that's not true. Your youngest daughter, I remember a while back, she's like, oh, my friend something's here. She's right there. And your wife's like, oh, where is she? It's like, oh, she's right there. It's like, she doesn't like you. And then your wife, which I laughed so hard, your wife's like, well, tell your friend if she doesn't like me, she can get out of my house. And your daughter's like, she's not there. She's not really there. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so with her, when it comes to that kind of stuff, she'll, depending on her mood, she'll say anything that she needs to get a little bit of extra attention.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's 5 kids. I understand that.
Yeah, she's the one that has the hardest time getting used to the fact of, having to share time.
Oh,
and
so
all
you think
that.
the imaginary friend was just her, like, oh, I want attention.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that. Because,
Okay.
I mean, she's said and done so many random things. Like when she's out here throwing herself around, and trying to get you to look, it's because she wants that extra attention.
When she was doing karate high kicks the other day?
Yes. So it's like, I'll give her just each kid the snuggle time, but then after, one might ask a question, the other might be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then, she'll come up and start doing the high kicks and throwing herself on the floor and laughing. And like every time, if you notice, she'll look around like, who's going to say something?
Oh, okay. So you have a couple siblings and so do I. I would like to see if any of them had imaginary friends. Because being that you're the youngest, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also the youngest, so I wouldn't remember if any of them had imaginary friends because they were so much older than me. And I think my oldest sister's like 14 years older than me. My oldest brother's like 12.
Yeah.
And my other sister's like 1 or 2 years older than me. But with that, I still wouldn't remember if they had imaginary friends. I always wanted to know, like, if they had imaginary friends. I know that your wife had an imaginary friend growing up, too. His name was Punfilo.
The hell?
Yeah, but he was, I don't know, it was weird. I think it was just because you watched a lot of fucking telenovelas.
It's very possible.
I don't think it was like an actual imaginary friend. But that, if you guys, the listeners, if your kids or if you had imaginary friends, let us know some stories on Discord. Try to help us out a little bit more to figure this out. Because, like I said, me and Narrator don't have any real experience with imaginary friends. Like, we don't know, like, do you actually see them? Do you feel their presence? That's kind of what I want to know.
Yeah, that's a big thing to moving to the next step on trying to figure it out and maybe finding a guest that can come on that actually has one and actually discuss it.
Yeah, because, I don't know, man, because I'm like, because the kids are always like, oh, he's right there. Like, do you actually see him?
Mm.
What does he look like? Or do you just feel what he looks like? Because our DM was telling us about not necessarily an imaginary friend, but more of like a weird imaginary presence that was around, but it's like manifested itself so to the point where like other people are seeing it and hearing it. Do you think that's a Tulpa?
I think so. We might have to ask her about it again and see if she could give us a more in-depth story to go ahead and put on one of these episodes. Because, I remember. And it was some, like, creepy jester.
Yeah. And to the point where, like, other people are, like, seeing it pass by or, like, hearing, like, the weird bells.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. It's something, because I don't know, man. It's weird, but
it is something that is intriguing for sure.
Would that be a Tulpa that went sideways? Because remember that she said that she had done a ritual to try to like calm it down, and then I guess the markings were like incorrect markings, and that's what gave it like a lot of power.
It's very possible, because from the sounds of what we heard, the lady that had to tried getting rid of hers was doing rituals. So
that might be it.
Yeah, that sounds spot on.
I think less imaginary friend, more evil Tulpa.
Yeah, which we'll have to find out for sure.
I wonder, can you get rid of a Tulpa?
Yeah, I mean, the original person that, went to Tibet and brought it back.
Yeah.
She got rid of hers.
How did she do that, though? I don't remember.
I don't know. Or actually...
Because I know that
she got rid of hers and that one dude.
The kid that did that art project, I know he got rid of it, but he physically destroyed the Tulpas container.
Coomer got rid of his, too, in the end.
That, I'm not 100% sure about that, if I'm being honest. Because if you're saying, like, you don't have the energy... to, like, switch back with it, what if just one day you just didn't have the energy enough to switch back and then Dweegee's just like, nah, this is my body now, and I'm gonna pretend to be you so people don't get worried about it.
I mean, that is very possible, but
because that was a whole different thing, though. He was letting it possess him. Like the Tulpas are just like around.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess that would be more of an example of a strictly mentalized Tulpa.
Yeah, I think you've binded at that point when you're letting it take over your body, you've binded yourself with that Tulpa, and I don't think you can actually get rid of that Tulpa.
I said if there's any people from the Tulpamancy community or just anyone that's dabbled, let us know.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting topic just to come back around to, because it's just like a vague thing. Like, yeah, it has like its descriptions and guidelines, but then there's so many other things that could bleed into that community.
Yeah, very true.
Because I don't know, man. Tulpas, I think for me personally, what I think they are is I don't think you manifested something. I think that you just believed in something so hard that you sent out basically like a beacon, and then whatever can get to you and attach yourself, that's kind of what it's going to be. Because it's not always dangerous, but from what the 3 stories we've heard, they've been dangerous. I've yet to hear a good Tulpa story with like, oh yeah, a Tulpa helped me pick my grandma up when she fell down the stairs. No, it's always been like, oh, it's moving around by itself and it's giving off like a horrible vibe, like to the point where I'm getting like sick, or it's possessed my body, or it's attacking people.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think Tulpamancy isn't anything to play around with.
No.
I think personally there's a lot of things I say that I won't do, like, oh, I won't like go investigate this or this and this. That's just me talking. There's a lot of shit that I will try. But the hard 2 limits, as of now,
Ouija board and Tulpas?
Exactly.
Because that's mine.
Yep, because I feel like that's letting yourself be used.
You're a conduit at that point.
Yeah, you want to believe in it so bad that you're allowing something to like attach itself. Which I have another story if we have time for it, but it's not really related to this.
Well, let's finish off this episode strong with a final story from Duffy.
So it's more along the lines of being a conduit. So a lot of people, do you know when somebody dies and then they'll be like really depressed about it? So like, I'm gonna light a candle for you so your spirit can find the way. I had a very like in-depth conversation with my brother about this because, as you know, my brother passed away a couple of times and they revived him. And my aunts would be like, oh, I'm going to put candles up for him and I'm going to pray and leave him going so he can find his way back. So I talked to my ex about this when we were still together, that when her mom passed away, her dad used to do the exact same thing at that house we went and investigated. That he would leave white candles going for her just so she could find her way home or whatever. And then that's when all the paranormal activity started in that house after the mom died.
Oh, and then when we were sitting there and just the table randomly had a bang hard enough to shake the whole damn thing.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit in that house. It's fucking terrifying. You can, like, as soon as you walk in, you feel that there's something. And it's not just something, there's multiple things there. You can feel it. But with the topic of like lighting the candles so they can find their way back home, you're basically setting out a beacon, your giant fucking lighthouse with that candle. You want it to be the person's spirit, but if we're being honest, the spirit moves on. The shit that sticks around and lingers and wanders around, like anything that's in purgatory, evil spirits, demons that are lingering around. You basically just opened up a beacon, a fucking doorway, an olive branch for whatever's out there to come and attach itself to your house.
Yeah, it's good or bad.
Yep, because when my ex's dad did that, as soon as he did it, he realized he had fucked up. Because then stuff started tormenting his kids, and he's like, if that's you, stop. Like, no, that's not your wife. I'm sorry to say that. I know that you want your wife to be around, and I want you can feel her presence and all that. But you've effectively opened up a gateway to whatever was lingering around that couldn't get through, but now you've opened a door for it to get through. And I feel that this is the same way with Ouija boards, and it's with Tulpas. And the same reason that I don't think you should light candles in the memory of the dead.
You're basically inviting in squatters.
Pretty much. So anything that was wandering around trying to get to you that for some reason couldn't get to you, like there's like a spiritual or metaphysical barrier or something, you've shattered that wall. You've broken down you let the levee break. So whatever was there is now free to come in and attach itself. So same reason with the Ouija board. Like people are like, I used it to try to talk to my grandma, but something attached itself and started attacking me. And now it's stuck with us. And every time we move, it comes with us. Like, no. That spirit's not attached to the Ouija board. The spirit's not attached to your house. The spirit's attached to you. Because you opened up that gateway and you let them through. You invited them in. And yeah. I feel bad saying that because I know like a big part of what we do is trying to disprove, like, oh, that this is haunted, this is that. And we try to understand it a lot better. We're not just going to like, oh, this is haunted, this is spooky. No, our main goal as a paranormal society to try to figure things out is to try to find explanation and reason and like, why would you do that? Why is this? Why is that? And I believe that a lot of it is people that do stuff like that aren't really believers. They want to disprove it so fucking bad, and they want to make people that believe in ghosts and believe in demons and all that, they want to make them look crazy. So when they end up fucking around, they end up finding out. And then they're like, oh, well, I need help. This has attached itself to me, and this is doing that. I'm like, yes, but what did you do to invite it in? Oh, I played the Ouija board. I'm like,
that's your big fuck up right there, buddy.
Yep. Like, we can try to prove that there's something there or disprove that there's something there. But past that, we really can't exorcise a demon. We can't cleanse your house for you. That's going to be on you to go further steps. For us, it's just either to prove that there's something there or disprove that there's something there. It's just to try to confirm or deny it for you.
And but then you got to take care of the rest.
Yep. When you do stuff like open up the fucking floodgates for something to come in or some things to come in, at that point, you have nobody to blame but yourself. And I know that's harsh to say, but I know it happens to some people because they don't know what they're doing. Like, my ex-father-in-law with the candles, he thought he was doing something good to help his wife's spirit find herself back to her house and her children. But if you think about it, in the Christian religion, when your soul leaves your body, it's gone. You don't linger on earth. You're not supposed to stick around. You're not supposed to come back. You're supposed to go to where you're supposed to go. You either go to heaven, you go to hell. You're not supposed to linger around. So if you're sticking around, that's for a reason. You're not good, you're not bad, but you're not supposed to be fucking with the living.
And we're not supposed to be doing that kind of shit to fuck with the dead.
Exactly. It's a two-way street. You're basically just putting a fork in the fucking socket. At this point, I don't know. Like I said, like, it's a lot of stuff that people try to do religiously or just to kind of like, because I get it. Like, when you lose somebody, it's the indefiniteness. It's the silence, knowing that you're never going to be able to talk to that person again. You're never going to see them again, and they're gone. And I know some people have a harder time of moving on. Yeah. So that's where they come up with like the candles, praying for the dead, trying to contact them via the Ouija board or dowsing rods or just stuff like that. But what we have to understand is if that person passed, and if they were truly a good person, they're gone. If you try to contact them, you're not going to get a hold of them. Stuff like that is unnatural. It's against the beliefs of what God would want. You're supposed to let the dead rest in peace. So if you're disturbing them by trying to contact them, by bringing them a signal to bring them back, it's not going to bring people that are resting in peace back. It's going to disturb people that never found peace or things that never found peace. Vile, vulgar, ungodly things to you. You're going to bring them directly to you. Yeah. So that's why I think with like the lighting of the candles, you're not supposed to pray for the dead either. Just stuff like that. I think it's better not to fuck with. Like, I get that us as humans, we have a curious nature. We want to know about other things like, oh, I want to know about deep sea. Like the seas are a mystery. Space is a mystery. The afterlife is no different. The afterlife is something that we want to see into. We want to understand it so fucking bad to the point where we are messing ourselves up trying to achieve that. But I think that's where the shroud of mystery should lie. It should stay there. If we wanted to know what's on the other side, we would know what's on the other side. I don't think it's something that we should necessarily explore into.
There's gateways and portals for a reason.
Yep. And that's where my point circles back around. So things like Tulpas that we don't understand, anything that's basically contacting or trying to summon something should be left alone.
At least for your own safety.
Yep.
So again, if you or anyone you know has created a tulpa, knows anyone that has, been around them, dabbled in tulpamancy, let us know. I want to learn more.
I want to learn more, but from a secondhand perspective.
Yeah, not
I don't
from
necessarily want that around me.
Yeah, I'm okay with not having one.
Yeah, because I learned my lesson from when it should attach itself to me for months.
Yeah, I remember that.
I do too. It was fucking horrible, and I hated it so goddamn much. That's what I'm saying. Stuff like that shouldn't be dabbled with. You should always take it seriously. If you're gonna try to investigate something, make sure you're going about it the proper way. Make sure you're not doing it as a joke. If you're actually trying to help somebody out, make sure you have the proper tools necessary. Make sure you take the proper precautions to protect yourself. Because even though I know it sounds fucking cheesy for me to say this, and people are like, oh, he's just fucking yanking our chain. Like, no. We've been in situations where it's the presence of whatever's there is so overwhelming that we feel sick. Like, to the point where, like, you feel unsettled to the point where you can't physically think right. Like, you get scrambled. And there's something there, but you have to properly take the proper measures and precautions to do it the right way.
And I get it. You know, people want that YouTube clout and all that fun shit of, oh, I'm going to go to the most haunted place and I'm going to do it by myself. Don't make that mistake. Never do anything like that alone. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make.
Yeah, that's why we roll in groups of 3.
Yeah.
But speaking of, I think we have something coming up for the viewers pretty soon, don't we?
Yeah, it should be at the end of July, I believe. We're going to try and go to a hotel here in town. And the room we're going to stay in, there was a standoff with a woman. And I believe it wasn't just her and police. It was her and like a SWAT team. And she ended up taking her own life in the room.
It's said to be very haunted. So I know it's been a minute since we've actually had an investigation.
Yeah.
We did a mini one that's going to be up on our TikTok.
Yes.
At Tales from Helheim. Go ahead and check it out. It should be up pretty soon. But we did a mini investigation at the warehouse that we work at. And I want to say we found some pretty decisive evidence.
Yeah, I need to go back through, move the video to my computer, enhance the audio, and take a listen, because there's some EVPs in there. I just want to know what exactly is said or what noise is made.
Yeah, because it's some weird stuff going on in that video.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have for this week's episode. Thank you for stopping by.
We love you all.
See you in Helheim.